wanted to be, I was getting my criminal justice degree. And one of the experiences, and I think my husband thinks it's funny because I still remember it, but I was welcome here. Like I had a lot of good friends from different countries. It was great, but criminal justice degree wasn't the degree that a lot of foreigner students took. Like foreigner students will be in economics and business, right? So I didn't have a lot of classmates that were diverse like me. So, but it wasn't really an issue. Like people were really nice. But I was sitting one day in one of my classes. I can't remember which class. And I guess I was like, I consider myself a good student. Yeah. And I believe I got like a -8. And I will never forget that the guy who was sitting next to me just looks at me when he sees my grade. And he goes, well, that's what foreigners get. We Americans get +A's. And I was like, so, coming to America for an American dream and then seeing people with that perspective just kind of puts you like down,
right.
Like
so
you're like,
was
oh my
the
gosh.
First hit that you kind of experienced.
Yeah. The first hit of, wow, maybe I'm not welcome here. Or maybe, there's more people like that think, that we, because we're from different countries, we're less smart or we can't do the same. And, we feel like, well, at least I feel like I respect a lot of the people that were born here and have, and that, Americans, and it doesn't matter to me because I see people as human beings. So for me, it was kind of like a hit because as I was saying before, I grew up in a culture that everyone was welcome,
Yeah. Like, so what was, so I want you to continue the college, but I want us to go back and talk a little bit about the kind of the intersection of culture of what you experienced. But yeah, so A- and he gets an A+.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, like it was like a hit for me. So obviously I was young and a little bit like, you have that spice, like I would say Latino spike. Like I was like, well, but I did it with my second language, that is English, like you only know one language.
You only want,
like,
yeah, I did it with a second.
Yeah. And I was young and maybe it was immature at the time, but I thought I had to defend myself. But I just wonder, like, that's because I was raised to stand out for myself.
Yeah.
But I know that there's a lot of people that just bow their head down to comments like that because you want to belong, like you want to, I have enough friends. At the time in college, I had enough friends that just this guy didn't mean anything to me for me to answer like that. But
it was also because of your upbringing in Ecuador.
Yes, it was.
What were some of the things that your family, that the culture taught you in Ecuador about standing up for yourself? Was that a family thing? Was it culture? What was that?
Well, my dad always said to me, and he taught me this since I was little, you always want to be nice to people because then they can never say anything that you did wrong or it was bad. However, if someone is disrespectful to you, and what you believe, you want to politely tell them that they're wrong, right? So that's kind of what my dad taught me. But at the same time, I grew up, thankfully, I feel like I was blessed because my dad had the means, but he always taught me one thing, no one's less than you, no one's more than you.
Because your dad was an attorney.
Yeah, he still is.
Yeah.
And our nanny is part of the family. Like that's how I grew up. I had a nanny and people are like, oh, you had a maid. No, I had a nanny. She was family to me.
Yeah.
It's different. And I think it has a lot to do with the way that you're brought up, and those, things that your parents teach you when you're little, but also how your family is. So I feel really blessed that I got all those learnings when I was little because when I was growing up, and I have to say, everyone's like, your dad's your favorite. And I'm like, yeah, a little bit. A little bit. But he taught me just always to be welcome to everyone. And it might be because I saw him on the political trail and he hugged everyone and he was nice to everyone. And that's just how I grew up. And maybe that's why I was so fearless. And I was like, let me get on a plane at 13 years old to learn about other people's culture.
That value of kindness.
Yeah.
So you kind of expected, like, well, other people are kind and stuff. And
I was expecting the same back. And when I realized that there's people out there that didn't thought the same way, or maybe their mindset was different because of the way they were brought up, I just had kind of a problem understanding the why. Because at the end of the day, I always thought we're all human beings, regardless. We're all the same, made the same. We go to the grave all in bones, you know? And
But you started to question the why
Yeah.
at the moment he said that.
when I was so young, you know, I was
Yeah.
like 18, 19. And I was
Wow.
like, you know, it kind of brings you a perspective. And then you're like, do I have to change a little bit to be more a certain way? Do I have to have less of an accent? You know, what do I have to do to belong?
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I'm such an advocate now, because I feel like if you're speaking English and you have an accent, people understand you. Like
Yeah.
I have, this might be just me, but I have a problem when people are like, well, I can't understand you. And I'm like, but what language am I speaking?
Speaking
I'm a
English.
yeah. So it's just it daunts me. I'm just like, why? Like I
Right.
understand that there's a language barrier sometimes if it's, you know, maybe really broken. I get it. But be mindful. You know, these
Yeah.
people are coming from all different backgrounds for all different reasons, and they're making an effort to learn your language so they can communicate with you. So stop
Wow.
yourself a little bit and be like, hey, can you repeat that? It's
Yeah.
all about the way that you ask. You know, that's what I tell people. You I don't mind people asking me questions about where I'm from, what I am, because sometimes they're like, what are you? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh well, I'm from Ecuador. What I am, I think
Yeah.
I think I'm still from Ecuador, you know? But, you know, they ask the questions wrong, you know, or they assume wrong instead of just asking me the questions.